Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, Mr. Rose. And DJ, you gotta fade us all the way out. DJ, you gotta fade us all the way out. It is November the 1st. Oh my goodness. November the 1st, 2022. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I'm just watching that calendar like November 1st. It feels like 2022 started just the other day, and we are already. It's Mariah Carey season, y'all. It is Mariah Carey season. Speaking of Mariah Carey, I just seen a video that I honestly it had me laughing. Right, just seen a video on Facebook where Mariah Carey is a witch for Halloween. So she's on a bike. It's a whole black and white scary scene, and she's laughing. And then it zooms in close to her, and then the screen, the scene flips, and then she goes from the witch, the wicked witch, to Santa Claus, and it's all Christmas spirit, and it's like this is her time now. I think the words across the screen is like, it's my time now. And she's like having this evil laugh as the Wicked Witch, and then it flips into her being Santa Claus or whatever. Listen, whoever did that was genius, because we already know that once Halloween passes, it is Mariah Carey season, and it has been that way for God knows how long. So it is episode number 108. You know, and as we head into the holiday season, you guys already know this month we got Black Friday going on, and then, you know, you're starting to buy gifts and whatnot for Christmas. And for me, you guys would have known that throughout the year, you know, I've had renovations going on, and you know, now that I've been traveling the past month and change. So like now that my renovations are done and I'm finally been able to move all of my stuff into the house, and things are good now. Now I'm starting to furnish out the place, and you know, as a responsible adult, you're looking for deals, and it just so happens that, you know, everything kind of happened around this time. So there's, you know, sales are starting to happen, and I'm starting to look to see, okay, what could I, you know, hold out for until like Black Friday or, you know, going into the Christmas season, so that I could take advantage of the deals, right? And like I said, I'm furnishing the place. So I have been looking at furniture, and it's in the search for this said furniture is why this episode has happened. Today's episode is going to be talking about Quartz Megastore, or Quartz in general, versus Standards distributors, and how the marketing of these two companies stack up. And it's very interesting. Like I was, again, I'm looking at furniture, I'm looking for appliances, I'm looking for all of these things, right? And whilst, Quartz is bombarding me with ads, Standards is bombarding me with ads. I recently just made a purchase from Quartz for my dining room set. Just put it together, got that set up in my dining room, and I'm just looking across everything, and boy, I feel like we are making marketing too hard. I think we're overcomplicating it. Right? I really feel like we are overcomplicating marketing. So while looking at Quartz and Standards, there's other places I've been looking at, but these are the two big ones. These are two big retail chains in Trinidad and Tobago. And I'll come out right now and say I think Quartz is doing a much better job of marketing than Standards. I think Quartz is doing a much better job than Standards. And I want to get into the reason why I feel so, but I'm also going to kind of break down what both of these companies should be doing. Because even though I believe that Quartz is doing a better job, and I think Quartz has done some really nice things that I like, and I think of a lot of the companies that I've seen, doing their marketing in Trinidad and Tobago, I feel very hopeful when I look at Quartz. I think they are doing some good things. Again, there's a lot that they could be doing, and there's no excuse as to why they can't execute on some of the things that we'll talk about. There's no excuse. They have the budget, they have the resources, they have every single thing that they need. I think they just need more direction or better guidance with their marketing. And again, this is not, I'm not saying it in a shady way, because again, I'm seeing things and I'm like, oh, this is actually very good. Like again, there's quite a few things I've seen from Quartz. I was like, oh, this is actually good. Like it actually caught my attention, and it caught me watching through the whole piece of content multiple times, right? But then on the flip side, with Standards, I've cringed a lot watching Standards content on social media. I think Standards has produced a lot of cringeworthy content. And then even there's been some pieces of content where I've watched and it was going good, and then it ended, and I'm like, oh, this was a waste. Like, you had a really good thing going, and I seen where you wanted to go, but there was no payoff. And I think the piece of content dropped the ball, all right? So let's dive into it. What do I like from Quartz? Let's start with Quartz. What do I like from Quartz? I think what Quartz has been able to do, like when you go through their social media, let's start with Instagram, right? When you look at their social media platform, when you look at their Instagram platform, both Quartz and Standards are pretty much neck and neck in terms of following counts, right? And we're not going to stress on the following count. Following count means absolutely nothing. When you have money and you can boost ads, it's easy to build your following count. But then when you actually look at the engagement of the content and the likes and the comments and the shares, and you realize that it's, it paints a very grim picture when you look at both, right? But I'm just throwing it out there. The following count for Quartz for Instagram is at 53.6 thousand. Standards is at 56.7. Now, Standards is also posted almost 3,000 times compared to Quartz 1,300 times, right? And they're pretty much neck and neck in terms of following count. But then when you look at both accounts, when you look at your 50,000 plus, the average likes per post on both of them is literally around just less than 100. both accounts, the average likes on every post is less than 100, right? Less than 100 for both of them. Some you'll have the odd post that does well, 500 likes. But then again, 500 likes, less than 1,000 likes when your following count is 50,000 plus. Again, it's not doing good. Like, it's not performing good based on the size of your audience, if you will. All right. So even when a post does really well for both of them, and you're getting close to 1,000 in likes, you have to keep in mind that their following, their audience is massive. Their audience is 50,000 plus for both of them. All right. So there's room for improvement. But again, there are things that I've seen that I've liked that I think that they could be doubling down on, and then we're going to dive into some data, and we're going to talk about some strategies that they could be implementing to build a better platform. So let's start with Quartz. Quartz, things that I've seen that really stuck out to me. So there was a piece of content I seen Quartz did a while back, and again they've dabbled in it here and there, and they have the right idea when I do see it that I would like to see more of. So there is a lady, and her platform is called EH Interior. All right. And I don't want to butcher her name. But her platform is EH Interior Studio. Her name is Uzan Horsham, and she is an interior designer. Please, Uzan, if I've butchered your name, I apologize. I've done my best. Don't crucify me, folks. But yeah, Uzan has done some really, really good work with Quartz, and let me explain why. Uzan, as an interior designer, has done pieces of content with Quartz, kind of designing rooms, but also giving you tips on pieces that you could use in your house and why, and what's the best way to use them. All right. So when I've seen her content and she's telling you about what pieces to use if you have a big space, what pieces to use if you have a small space, I seen a piece of content she did where she was like, hey, as an interior designer, these are some of the tools that I use in my day-to-day job. And she referenced the tools that she has purchased from Quartz that allow her to do her job as an interior designer. That, to me, is gold. I sat down, I watched the entire piece, and everything that she talked about that she uses as an interior designer, it all made sense. And the piece of content performed tremendously well. And people that seen it were like, shucks, I need that. Oh, that's what that's for? Oh, I need that. Like, it made sense. So you got somebody who is an interior designer. She's talking about tools that she uses. She has content with you guys saying, hey, if you have a small apartment, these are great pieces that you could use within your apartment that don't take up as much space, right? That are versatile, because maybe you have a small apartment and it has to have, one color. These are pieces that are versatile, that'll look good. It makes complete sense. And in that idea of taking people who specialize in an industry and finding that synergy. You specialize in interior design. We are a big box retail store. We have we have a wide assortment of products, right? And turning that into content based on your specialty, that's golden content right there. And because she's a interior designer, we, the audience, are more inclined to listen to her and take her advice because this is her field. This isn't a random influencer or random person with a large following giving you interior design interior design advice when they're not interior designers. All right. Another piece of content I seen Quartz did that I thought was really well was, let me just find her, is from Kezianne Miller. And Kezianne Miller is a professional bruncher. And I believe she does a lot of food content, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think I've seen her on oh God, what is the name of it? Foodie Nation. There we go. She's a professional blogger. She's a foodie. She's on Foodie Nation, so you know her for food content, right? Now, again, I don't know Kezianne's background. I don't know if she's a chef. I know I've seen her face on Foodie Nation, right? Again, I don't know if she's a chef or whatnot, but because we know her from one of the biggest food blogging platforms in the country, Foodie Nation, I am more inclined to listen to her talk about food content with Quartz. So she had a piece of content that I watched the other day that I really liked. And that content was, she was comparing air fryer wings versus oven baked wings. And so she cooked the wings and she was giving us a breakdown as to what tastes better, what is crispier, and I forget what there was 3 criteria. There was crispiness, taste, and something else, right? Crispiness, taste, and something else. And she cooked them both in the oven and she cooked them in the air fryer. And then she kind of gave us a review as to which wings she liked better. Wings in the air fryer, wings in the oven. And the wings that were cooked in the air fryer, she was like, yo, these are crispier wings. They're crispier, crunchier. And she preferred the wings that came out of the air fryer. Now, again, if you are talking to a food blogger and your food blogger is telling you about different tools, different ways to cook your favorite items, that is great social media content. That is really good content, right? That's the type of content you want to see. That's content with synergy. And it's content that, because I know she's a food blogger, again, or if the person was a chef, this is where the synergy can happen. A chef can come in and say, yo, we're gonna cook wings. One we're going to do with the oven. The other we're going to do with the air fryer. And after watching that, I already know the type of decision I'm going to make. Am I going to go and invest in a new stove, or am I going to go invest in an air fryer? Right? So seeing that level of content, I really, really liked. Now, Quartz does have other content with other influencers. So they got stuff with my boy Devon X Scott. They got stuff with Kivo. They got stuff with Sunny Bling, right? Now, when you do content with those guys, it's really to raise mass awareness for whatever they're going to be talking about, right? But those are guys that are not really necessarily specializing in something that Quartz is offering. That if I hear Kivo, and shout out to Kivo, I love Kivo, I love Bling. Bling's my guy. Devon's my guy, right? If Devon is talking to me about tech, remember Devon is coming from, his whole come up was on tech blogging, so I can take him in when he is talking about tech. Kivo has content where he's doing giveaways. Sunny Bling has content doing giveaways. Again, those are great ways to use those guys, right? If Kivo is telling me, if Kivo is trying to instruct me on what oven to buy or what stove to buy, I'm not really going to be listening to that, because that's not what we know him for, all right? But you guys, you can use these guys. Kivo's a comedian. Bling is, Bling is a wild man. He is a comedian. He's a comedian guy too, right? So you could use them in campaigns and you can have a lot of fun. And that's going to be great for social media. And again, just how they use them, right? It's all about how you're using people who have a platform, who we know, people that we love. You're not just going to throw them in here and say, hey, sell this. Because it's not authentic. We don't know you for that. So you're not about to influence us on on an expert level decision. But again, you can have fun with them. Devon has, some tech content with them. We know he's a big gamer, so I've watched some videos on him where he's recommending different sound systems. Like things like that. Like again, we know Devon doesn't necessarily specialize in audio, but it's easier for me to take that information in from him because we know him from being a tech blogger, and we know that he's a gamer. So if he is telling me about he has his PS5 set up and he got this TV, and because he wanted to fill up the room in his sound, he invested in this sound equipment, it's easier for me to take that in from him. All right. Now, when we look over to standards, I think standards tried to do some expert level content. They tried. And I think every time they tried, I felt like, okay, this is starting off good. But then it just didn't pay off for me. And I didn't end up liking the content. So I'll give you an example. Let me just pull this thing up. So the video that I had seen from Standards was a lovely young lady, and she was talking about refrigerators, right? And it started off like, I think the hook, the initial opening to the video, I was like, I was intrigued because again, I wanted to see where this was going, and I thought they were going to do something that would have nailed it. So she was like, hey, are you looking for a new refrigerator? Well, here are some things to look for in purchasing a refrigerator, right? So I was like, okay. Is Standards stepping up, right? Are they stepping up? And she gave us her tips on purchasing a fridge. So again, the initial hook, I thought it drew me in because guess what? I'm in the market for a fridge, right? But then watching the rest of the video was a complete letdown because I learned nothing. And this is where I think retail places are dropping the ball, because at the end of the day, we the consumers, you guys are supposed to be the experts. We don't know what a lot of these appliances are capable of, but you stay so surface level, we can never appreciate what a lot of these appliances can do because your product knowledge is surface level. The information you put out is super, super surface level. So in the video, she starts off, you're in the market for a fridge? Well, let me break down what you should be looking for. And the first thing she says is decide on the design. Do you want single door, double door, or whatever? And I was like, okay, for the most part, what is the difference? All right. What is better than the other? Now, funny enough, when I look at refrigerator content, refrigerator blogs, refrigerator videos, one of the first things they say to look for when looking for a fridge is door configurations. But guess what? Did you know there are pros and cons to every single door configuration? The door configuration has a lot. There's a lot of importance, and I'll give you an example, right? So while Standards was like, decide on the door. Do you want single door, double door? Do you want the pull-out freezers? That's the first decision that you need to make. And the girl explained nothing as to why that even matters. So listening to her, to me, doors is just purely aesthetic. But guess what? And the reason why I'm speaking about this is because, like I said, I'm in the market for a fridge. And when I was looking at refrigerator content, the door configuration has a lot of importance. So let me give you the example. French door refrigerators. So that's the side-by-side fridge doors at the top that you pull out. Guess what? When you have the side-by-side fridge doors at the top and the one or two freezer drawers at the bottom, compared to just other configurations with just one door, French door models are more energy efficient since less cold air escapes the appliances when open, keeping your foods more chilled for longer. And thanks to its unpartitioned space, the fridge compartment can fit wider items like party platters and pizza boxes. That's pulled from spencerstv.com on their blog about refrigerator freezers. All right? Then you have something like this, right? Top freezer. True to their name, top freezer refrigerators entail a larger fridge compartment at the lower level with smaller icebox on the top. This configuration is largely favored for its affordability, as most models are between $500 to $800 US. So they have broken down all of the things you should look for in a fridge. There's a lot, right? And then they have broken down every single thing you should be looking at, and then they breaking down, the different styles, the different configurations, pros and cons to each. So door configurations is 1. 2, energy efficiency. 3, this is all the features you should be looking for in a fridge, and they break down the pros and cons and why this matters and how this helps you. 3, Wi-Fi connectivity. Edge-to-edge shelvings, number 4. 5, organization drawers. 6, automatic temperature controls. 7, specialty ice dispensers. And again, each point, so those are 7 things you should be looking for in a fridge. And then after each point, they're breaking down exactly what you should be looking for. So when I see that, I'm like, now I know what I should be looking for in a fridge. Going back to Standards video, they said there was 3 things to look for. 1, decide on the design, but they didn't really break down as to what the pros and cons of each design were. 2, consider the capacity. And when they talk about consider the capacity, like, take a look at the size of your family. And then 3, and that was it. And then 3, look at the features. Okay, but what do the features mean? How does it help us? So like how SpencersTV.com broke down features and was telling me how it works for me. So in the video for Standards, they say, the fridges can have Wi-Fi, but that's it. In Spencer's TV, they break down why Wi-Fi connectivity in your fridge matters and how it can help you and the benefits. They break that all down. So now, where I would have never have said to myself, I need Wi-Fi connectivity in a fridge, now after reading their entire list of pros and cons and benefits for your fridge having Wi-Fi connectivity, I can now say, oh shoot, I do need Wi-Fi connectivity in my fridge. And I understand why. But when you sell the benefits of all of these things, now people can make the decision to save more money to invest in a fridge versus, well, I don't want to spend money on a fridge. It's a fridge, and if it's brand new, it's going to do what it has to do. It's going to keep my food good. But now if I'm sold the benefits, I'm now going to say, oh, shoot, I need a French-styled door fridge with 2 bottom freezers and Wi-Fi connectivity, and I need this particular ice dispenser. And I need to ensure that it has automatic temperature. You know what I mean? Like, now you could really zone in on what type of fridge you are going to need for your situation. So while the Standards video, it started off good. The hook, hey, you're in the market for a fridge. Here are some things to look for. I'm zoned in. But then the payout was bad because you really kept it so surface level. There was nothing for me to take away from that video. So when you look at the rest of the content from Standards, where they have a sales rep talking, it's super, super, super surface level that while you have the right idea in principle, there's no value in it because it stays so surface level, right? And then when I look at the rest of the content from Standards, half the video content is like poor quality, really poor quality. I think the last couple of videos they did, they hired a cameraman like with an actual camera to shoot the videos, and again, it looks good, but the majority of the video content, it's taken from a very bad phone, and it looks very grainy. It just doesn't look good. A lot of their content too, they are reposting from TikTok, not removing the watermark. Like any social media person worth their salt knows that Instagram of all places, Facebook platforms are penalizing you if you are keeping the TikTok watermark on your videos. You need to remove that if you do want to increase your reach. Like everybody knows that, right? But all your videos are clearly pulled from TikTok because the watermarks are there. The video quality for the most of your videos are not good, and the content is super, super surface level. So remember, Courts had the video on that I said I liked about the wings. Baking the wings or air frying the wings, and you did it with a food blogger. So again, I'll quicker take her word for it versus a random person. Standards has a video of, I don't know who this girl is. I have no idea who this girl is, but this girl walks into Standards and she says, I need an air fryer. And she's talking about how pretty the air fryer is and how it looks. And then she walks up with an air fryer and says, come check out Standards for air fryer. Like, there was absolutely no information. I don't know who this girl is. Is she an influencer? Is she popular? Is she a food? I know she's not a food blogger because I would have gotten something. I would have gotten some sort of information. She literally just walks in and says come buy an air fryer with her. And then she walks around, ooh, this is nice. Ooh, this is pretty. Oh, look at the price. Hey guys, come down to Standards and check out this air fryer. And we've learned nothing as to why we should have an air fryer or not. So again, super, super, super surface level. I've learned nothing from that video, and it's a missed opportunity, right? At the end of the day, businesses have to pay money to create a lot of this content. Like when they're bringing in other people who are not staff, right? They got to pay. So was that the best use of your money? There was a video of and this is pretty funny, right? There was a video in Standards where one of the sales reps is breaking down a Frigidaire double oven stove, right? And she's walking through the features of the stove. Now, why this video is funny to me is because the only thing she's not is a chef in title, but the woman cooks a whole lot. She does catering. She takes orders. She's always baking, always cooking, and providing food for people who place their orders and whatnot, right? And she just bought this exact stove last month, this Frigidaire double oven stove. Now, when she was purchasing it, she was showing me the stoves that she was going to buy. And again, she's not a professional chef. You know, we have professional chefs in the family, but she broke down the 3 different stoves that she was looking at to me, why she was looking at these particular stoves, and what these stoves were going to allow her to do. And she ended up settling on the double oven Frigidaire stove because it was going to allow her to pump out her baking orders better, and she could multitask and do a bunch. Like, she broke down all the benefits as somebody who takes orders for food and does catering, and she broke that down. But when I watched this video from Standards, they're just listing out the features of the stove versus they could have done some better content with this and kind of pinpointed the ideal client for a stove like this. They could have sold more of the output, more of the benefits of doing, and not just walking through the features of the listed features of the product. I think that was a missed opportunity, right? And again, these are organizations that have the money and the resources. Like, seeing is believing. So rather than you kind of just having a sales rep just stand in front of a display unit and just rattle off the listed features of the item, you could set up this item in play. Show us how it works. Bring in a chef. Bring in somebody who cooks. And have them have them do some amazing content with the double oven. Let us see it in practice. Let us see it working. That's the type of content that does well on social media. Not just a sales rep standing in front of a product, listing off the features and then telling us the price. And that's it. Right? So, just because I'm in the market, because I'm looking at because I'm looking at furniture, because I'm looking at appliances, these are things that kind of stuck out to me. All right? Quartz has the right idea. Now remember, I gave you guys two examples, one with Uzan and one with, oh God, I forget the other girl's name. Kezi. Is it Kezi? Let me find. Kezi, right? Kezi does eat. Food content. Interior designer content. Now, while the majority of their content is kind of just hard selling, or it's a flyer about a product or whatever, to me at this point, going into 2023, I think flyer content is dead. Like, I think there's just so many better ways. There's so much content you guys could create, and you have the money, you have the resources to make more impactful content that could really influence sales. But I think, again, sprinkled in between all of their flyers, because the majority of their content is flyers, sprinkled in, they have some good content, right? And I like the idea of what they're trying to do with with the interior designer, with some of the foodies. I even see they got the team Rendalina food bloggers. They have Auntie Lynn who was making. I'm watching a video where it's called Celebrating Sundays with Auntie Lynn, and she's cooking up different foods, and she's using appliances sold by Quartz. And she has a food blogger, Rendalina, the Rendalina team, inside tasting the food and following along. I like that type of content does really well, and it makes sense, and it makes for good social media content, right? And with Standards, I never really got that. I predominantly go on their platform. It's a lot of flyers, and when it is short form video content, it's a sales rep just standing in front of a product, just rattling off the features. And again, features don't sell me on what this thing does, all right? They have a video with Joshua Grello. They gave him a Samsung, right? That does absolutely nothing for me. Him getting a free phone, shout outs to him. Great, you got a free phone. But what does that mean for me? The video does nothing. It says nothing. It shows me nothing of the Samsung S21. And then Joshua is a pan man. So what exactly is him? What exactly is Joshua going to be selling me on the phone? versus if you gave this to a tech blogger, if you gave this to a photographer or a videographer, and you're saying, hey, we're gifting you the phone, go out, let's see what the camera can do from a photography perspective or from a video perspective. If you gave this to a gamer and said, hey, show us the gaming capabilities of the S21. What is the Samsung S21 known for? And then find the right people, give them the Samsung S21 and have them make content. That way we can see the power of the device. We are overcomplicating these things. Giving it to Joshua and having him unbox it does nothing for anybody. Right? It does nothing for anybody. We don't know him. We're not going to take tech advice from him. We're not. So, again, I really believe that we're overcomplicating marketing. And just looking at these two brands, they both have a different approach. And I think Quartz is doing a better job. But Standards, I think, is they want to do good, but I think they're missing the mark. So, I just pulled up data on a couple of different appliances, right? And I want to kind of show you guys the types of content that retailers could be making based on data. So let me give you an example. Mattresses in Trinidad have a high search volume, right? And when we look at the age ranges of the people searching for mattresses over the last month in Trinidad and Tobago, 43% of people who are looking for a mattress are between the ages of 35 to 44. Second, 22% of the people searching for mattresses online are between the ages of 45 to 54. Now, obviously, just looking at the different age ranges of the people looking for mattresses, I can make some decisions as to what types of problems are people in these age ranges having when it comes to their backs or their bodies or getting good sleep. And I can tailor my content to each of these age brackets, right? If we look, we can also see the types of questions people are asking about mattresses. So the number one question being asked in Trinidad and Tobago about mattress is, guess what? Which mattress is best? That's the number one question being asked about mattresses in Trinidad and Tobago. Which mattress is best? So if I'm the marketing manager, I am going to go and find a sleep specialist, because guess what? We have sleep doctors in Trinidad. And I would go and bring in a sleep doctor, and I would have him talk about the different types of mattresses to get the best sleep. I would look at talking to a physician, talking to a chiropractor. Bring them in to make good content. Look, we have chiropractors who are making great content. Shout out to Kern Roberts over at the Rehab Center, who has made content on mattresses. He has also made content on pillows. So why wouldn't Quartz or Standards reach out to a physician, to a physical therapist who is already creating content on sleep, creating content on mattresses, creating content on the best pillows. And he's also talking about that from the perspective of, okay, if you have scoliosis, this is a sleeping position you should be in if you have scoliosis. This is the type of pillows you should be using. This is where you should have pillow placement. He is already doing all that content. You are selling mattresses. You are selling pillows. So why wouldn't you be on the lookout for guys like a Kern Roberts from Rehab Center, pulling them in and say, hey, let's do a co-branded content. We have mattresses, we have pillows. You are making content educating on sciatica, scoliosis. You're talking about how to get the best sleep. What are the best mattresses? What are the best pillows? Right? And the number one question in Trinidad is asked is, which mattress is best? That's pretty vague, right? But it's still a question being asked. And it's your job to pull that data and say, okay, mattresses are best depending on everybody's different situation, right? Standards has a video on looking at mattresses. And the video offers no good information. Like the girl was talking about, you need to ensure how firm you want it. Some firm, if the mattress is too firm, it's not going to fit the curvature of your spine. But there's a reason why there are extra firm mattresses, and there are reasons why there are extra soft mattresses. However, your sales rep probably isn't the best person to say that information on social media. They should know why. I most definitely think they should know. I think they should know why. And I think if you did your research and you gave us some of those reasons, like you gave us some high-level points as to, hey, this is why you would want a firm mattress or this is why you would want a soft, cool, no problem. But I still think like this is an opportunity for you to go and bring in a physical therapist or a sleep doctor or any one of those people who specialize in sleep and then have them come in to talk about the mattresses. Right? Look at this. The third highest question asked about mattresses in Trinidad. Look at this. What mattress is best for back pain? What mattress is best for side sleepers? What mattresses do hotels use? So this is why I get upset with the marketing teams of all these companies. Because all of the data is there of the things people want to know about all of the products you are selling. And once you pull all of the data, you can turn all of this into amazing content. And you know exactly who you need to bring in to execute. It sells itself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Right? So let's take a look. Oh, mattress disposals. How do I dispose of a mattress? Like, these are things that people don't necessarily think about until it's time to happen. And this is one of the top questions being asked. How do I dispose of a mattress? Nobody, not courts, not standards, nobody has answered that question. All right, let's take a look at some other things they're asking about mattresses. How long should a mattress last? When should you replace a mattress? How are mattresses made? These are things people look at this. How to get rid of bed bugs in a mattress. These are all questions that if you are selling mattresses, you should be talking about in your content. And you know it's going to do well because people are searching for the information. And when we search for the information, guess what? None of the information being displayed on Google, Bing, any of it is coming from a company in Trinidad and Tobago. Heck, none of the information is coming from any country, any company in the Caribbean. It's all coming from companies in the US or in the UK. None of this information is coming from a Caribbean country. And that's because no Caribbean company is putting out any of this information on any platform that is Googleable. And they're not even putting out the content on social media. Look at this question. How does a mattress affect sleep? You see the types of questions people are asking that could be turned into content? Why does a mattress turn yellow? Why does a mattress get too soft? You see all of these questions? These are things people want to know when they are purchasing a mattress. And the fact that none of the companies, not Quartz, not Standards, not Furniture Plus, the fact that none of the companies are addressing any of the things people want to know about mattresses is shocking and appalling. Because what exactly are you guys paying your marketing teams to do? You guys are creating content around things that people are not even asking. Remember, you're in business to solve a problem. These products that you are selling were made for an ideal client, and they have different uses, all right? In the case of firm mattresses, soft mattresses, they are made for different people. And people are asking these questions because the data shows it to us. And when you pull the data and you look at everything people want to know about all of the products that you are selling, you could never run out of content. And this is the type of content you want to have on your website. So when people are Googling or Binging or Yahoo, they're landing on your platforms. But then on social media, you collaborate, bring in content creators who are focused on, these particular industries and cross-pollinate. It's easy for you to say, hey, Rehab Center, do a video on mattress and pillows and give him a discount code and let people know, hey, use his discount code and get 5% off your next purchase. That's how marketing works. That's how you drive sales. That is how you do social selling. That is how you educate and entertain. You on social media, and this is the case of Standards. You're on social media, and you're just ripping your TikTok videos and slapping it on Instagram. You have a sales rep standing in front of a product, just listing out the features. That's not good content. That's not content that sells. Court, you guys are doing better, but you could be doing so much more because you have the money, you have the resources. This is where your content strategy needs to step up, because all of the data that I'm looking at, right? I have the tools. I'm looking at the data. So if I have the tools and I'm pulling the data on every single thing people are looking for with respects to refrigerators, mattresses, if I have that data, then why don't you have that data? And why are you guys not turning it into content? Look at this. Looking at refrigerators. Why do refrigerators make noises? How much electricity does a refrigerator consume? Look at this. What refrigerators are in Spanish? We have an influx of the the Spanish community has ballooned over the past couple of years. And that's one of the top questions being asked. What refrigerators are in Spanish? How does a refrigerator compressor work? Like, these are questions being asked in Trinidad and Tobago. And again, if your sales reps don't know the information, then you can always get people who are specializing in these respective fields to come in and do content with you and put that information out. But then at the same time too, your marketing team should be getting all this information and furnishing it to your sales team so they know what are the top questions people ask. They know talking points that they should be using to sell to people coming into the stores. They know the types of questions to ask in the discovery when they're speaking to customers and they're trying to figure out, what refrigerator would work best for which person. That's how all this information can be used. All right. So that's it. That's what I wanted to kind of dive into today. Marketing for retail places. And again, I got into it because I myself am looking for appliances. I'm looking for furniture. It brought me down this road. And then just looking at the way Quartz is doing the marketing, Standards is doing the marketing, some of the other places, it got me thinking about there's so much more that could be done that we're not tapping into for marketing for these big, our largest retail chains. They have the money, they have the resources, there's no excuse. You're just lacking the strategy. And I'll give credit. I like the pieces that I've seen from Quartz and even in Standards. There's so much more. There's so much better you guys could be doing from the quality perspective. First of all, get a better phone. Whoever's shooting the standard videos from your phones, it doesn't look good. It's pixelated. It's grainy. You have your last few videos where I could tell you guys brought in a camera guy, and you've mic'd up your people, and the video quality is better. Great, but you have some videos with that are shot from a phone, they don't look good, right? Start shooting from a better phone. Tons of good phones in the market. You're out here giving Josh Regrello a Samsung S21. Take that back and give it to a staff. Or make something available to shoot, proper videos if you guys are not, working with a cameraman. Oh God, have an S22 handy and have whoever is doing your in-store content shoot from that one particular device, right? And then remove the watermark. If you guys are ripping your TikTok videos from TikTok and putting on Instagram, remove the watermark. Every single person on social media knows. Meta, Facebook, they are penalizing your content if you're keeping the TikTok logo on their platforms, right? And go deeper. Go deeper. We're not talking to tell us about, the schematics of how a fridge is built. But people, if you look at the data and you see what matters to people when they are looking for fridges, mattresses, stoves, when you look at the things that they want to know, take that data and turn it into content. I gave you guys examples today of the things people are asking in Trinidad and Tobago about fridges, mattresses, and whatnot. That is the content you need to be making. And that's going to help people make a buying decision. And once you can do that, all is well in the world. All is well in the world. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Marketing for retail, for the retailers, standard versus courts. I'll figure out what I'm going to title it. But if you guys enjoyed today's episode, feel free to drop a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of the platforms that allow you to rate the podcast. Please rate the podcast. The ratings help me tremendously. They help the Digipreneur FM podcast grow to international heights that keeps on growing. I'm really encouraged when I look at, the countries that is consuming the content, how many people are downloading the podcast every single month. It just continues to grow. So thank you for supporting the podcast. So drop the ratings. The ratings do help. Also, if you guys really enjoyed the content, please leave a review. The reviews personally help me keep a pulse check on how we are doing and, how we can do to grow. And again, it's just good to get great feedback from you guys if you guys are enjoying the podcast. Also, if people are, trying to tune into the podcast for the very first time, everybody checks the reviews. So drop a review if you love the content. That's just going to help continue to grow the Digipreneur FM podcast family. If you want to check me out over on social media, go and check me out at Keron Rose, KeronRosc, on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. You guys can also check out the KeronRose.com website to learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms. And last but not least, check out the Digipreneur.fm website to stay up to date on all things related to the podcast. You can join the email list. You can even join the notification list. That way you get all the information surrounding the Digipreneur podcast. That is it from me today, folks. I hope you enjoy the lovely rest of your week. November 1st, I hope all of you have an amazing November. We are 60 days until the end of the year. Let's push hard for the rest of the year, and let's close out this year on the best note. All right? Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm sure I'll have another episode before the weekend, so stay tuned for that, all right? Take care!
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Keron Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Keron Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.